Welcome. Today's webinar is on designing courses for bright, busy, technical people. We're glad you joined us. My name is Dr. Tammy Frame. I'm the Chief Education Officer for eLearning, and I'm looking forward to this topic for quite some time. This was one that was suggested by one of our participants in a previous conference. Okay, today's webinar is being held through GoToWebinar. There is an area where you can ask questions, and you just expand that. We welcome questions throughout the presentation. That always makes it a lot more fun. If you were unable to join us live today, in the previous slide I showed my contact information. You will be getting an email with my contact information as well with a recording of the webinars. Feel free to email me with any questions that you may have as well. Okay, I just have a lot of tips. This is a topic that I am passionate about. And so we're going to just start going through those, and I hope that they are helpful for you. The first tip is you really want to start with the end in mind. If you don't have this done, your whole course can kind of fall apart and be weak. And so you want to start before you start planning activities and the look and the feel. You want to write out measurable learning objectives. Something, what is it that the learner should be able to know and be able to do by the end of the course? And there's a handy tool that I sometimes use called the Learning Outcome Generator that can help you write strong, measurable outcomes for your courses. After you have your learning objectives written, then you want to pick how will you assess those? How will you know if the learner can know and be able to do those things? And then once you have your assessments strategy completed, then you can start picking out learning activities that will help them get to where they need to go. So often in instructional designing, it goes in the reverse. People start picking out learning activities that may or may not end up in getting to where the learner needs to go. So you want a very tight course that is very well orchestrated around where is it that we want to finish. Once you start designing your course, you want to not keep those learning objectives secret. You want to have them up front for the learner to know that this is the goal of the course and what you want them to be able to know and do by the end of the course. One of the biggest mistakes that I see is content being much too long. I see some SCORM packages or screencasts or movies that are close to an hour or 45 minutes. That is way, way too long. You want to keep those to about 4 to 8 minutes if you can, and chunk it up if you have to, and into smaller topics so that people can digest it. They can do a little bit here, a little bit there, without losing your audience, and you'll be much more successful. You want to keep the learner active. So kind of a rule of thumb is every time you deliver a small chunk of content, you want to do something interactive following that. So a lot of our clients use Articulate Storyline, and there are a lot of triggers that the reason that we like that software of interactive triggers that you can have. The learner has to drag something. They have to take a short quiz. Something to engage them throughout so that they're not just passively watching content. Also, some of our LMSs, mainly Toter and Moodle, are built on a social constructivist design theory. So that means that they have a lot of interactive tools that can be built into courses. And we really recommend that you use interactive things that the learner can do. We also recommend not putting too much information on a page. I like the design of this course because you click on each thing to open it instead of scrolling forever to see it. If a learner were to open up a course and just see endless amounts of content, they already feel defeated and they haven't even started. So you want a tight, well-organized course that is not overwhelming in text. Okay. Make your courses mobile friendly. More and more and more people are using their phones. They have busy lives. You know, maybe they're waiting for the t-ball game to start if they're a child and they can get a little bit done. Another reason why you want to chunk things. Um, Chunking things will look better on a mobile phone. Also, you want to make sure that the software that you're using to deliver the course is mobile friendly. So in all of our software, that is true that we support. We have several different kinds of learning management software. We use responsive themes, and what that means is it detects the device that you are using and it automatically sizes to that device and looks good on that device. And so, for example, on a phone, it might become more tabular and easier to navigate with fingers. You also want to follow guidelines for reading on the web. You want to choose your fonts very carefully. You want to think about font size really matters. You want to make sure that it's a size that will be readable. You want to make headers much bigger and noticeable. Opposites attract. What I mean by that is have a good background and a good text color that go well together. Um, Keep it short. Less is more. You know, for example, the titles on these slides are very short. We didn't write out complete sentences. Use a lot of white space and use bullet points when possible as opposed to full sentences. Make it really obvious what the learner is supposed to do. So here it says to begin working, do the things below. We have an arrow that shows a screencast that's going to orientate you to this course. And, you know, just really using icons, really pointing out with labels, what are they supposed to do in what order. I would say include a warm welcome and orientation video. If possible, you can humanize your courses if the instructor is on it. Maybe do a screencast of how to navigate the course. What are things that the learner ought to know to be successful. It makes a great welcome video. Again, these should be very short. Images really help. They just help make the content and break it up and help bring interest to your content and make it a lot more interesting. Icons really help. That the brain likes patterns and repetition. And so if you can look for certain icons to help you guide through the course that repeat, that is really helpful to the learner and they appreciate it. Make sure video and file formats are in universal formats. So often one of the biggest mistakes that I see is people will upload raw video to their course. Not recommended. The reason is then the learner will have to download it, which takes time and bandwidth. And if they're on a phone, they may not have it. They need plainer players of whatever format that was uploaded in to play it. What you want to use is something like YouTube or Vimeo. Those have transcoders, and whatever format you upload your video in, it will transcode it into a universal format that can play on any device, phone, tablet, laptop. And you then embed that video into your learning software. The learner then doesn't have to see any ads. They don't have to leave your learning site. they just press play like they would in YouTube and they're off to the races. It actually streams off of those servers and streams just as fast as if they were on the site itself. And phones and devices will play YouTube and Vimeo, so that's a really good way to go about it. You don't want to upload things like Microsoft Word, things like a PowerPoint or a Word document or Excel. While you can, not everybody may have the right apps or knowledge of how to open those on various devices. But if you upload to something in a universal format, such as a PDF or SCORM, then those things can be read on any device. So you really want to be sensitive to that. You want to include contact info, very easy for your learners to see. So if you're going to be the instructor, I would put your instructor contact info. I think it's really important that if you are offering online courses that you've thought through how you're going to provide support for your learners. eClass for Learning actually has support services that we do for several of our clients, and the learner doesn't necessarily know that they're not calling that organization, and we become kind of their IT help support. We can help with login issues, downloading of content, browser issues, those kinds of things that a learner might be struggling with to help them make it successful in a course. We have great partners for that. Make your courses motivational, especially technology. People love this kind of thing. So you can have digital badges for completing different things or courses, or a certificate of completion. And the LMSs, many of them that we support, have digital badges, and all of them have certificates of completion that can be added. And those can even be customized to look like your organization. And people really appreciate it. It adds a kind of a gamification and a fun aspect to the learning. Track progress. Learners like to see visually how they're doing and where they are. It helps motivate them. So things like progress bars or checklists, or having things restricted till other things are completed, having things checked off real visually. Learners in our feedback of courses we have taught has said they appreciate those things, and it helps make the course a lot clearer as to where they're at and what they still need to complete. This is really big, test. I cannot believe how many people do not do this. They launch without testing. You really need to have a beta group go through and give you feedback, make sure that all links and things are working, all branching things are working, all things work on mobile devices, work in different browsers. If you don't, it can become very frustrating for the learner, and I think you lose trust with your learners. So make sure you test. The other one, we just have a few more. Gather feedback. That's another thing people often don't do. Have a feedback survey in your online course to continually gather feedback and find out, even mid-course, what the learners are finding good about the course, what is difficult for them, and you can redesign continually and have an iterative design to help your online courses get better and better as time goes on. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, here's my contact information. I will be sending out the recording, and I would welcome any questions that you might send to us. And I hope you'll visit our website and join us for future webinars. Thank you very much.